Alrighty, so let's solve this quadratic using the quadratic formula. So I have the formula written out here for us. And so the first thing that I want to do is I want to identify what A, B, and C are in the problem. So in this problem, A is the number in front of the squared term. So in this case, it's 7. B is the number in front of the non-squared variable or the linear variable. And C is the constant. Now, because all of these have plus signs and are positive, I didn't have to put a negative sign with any of these. So once I have that information, I'm going to take and plug A into the quadratic formula wherever I see A as the variable. I'm going to take B and plug it in wherever I see B. And then I'm going to take C and plug it in where I see C. So for this problem, it's going to turn into x equals -8 plus or minus the square root. In parentheses, I put 8 squared minus 4 times 7 times 2. Again, all in parentheses, all underneath the square root. And then that's all over 2 times a. So now I'm going to take this piece of information and I'm going to go to Desmos and plug it in. So I'm going to start with the fraction bar and I'm going to type in -8 plus, because I'm going to focus on just the plus sign first. So -8 plus, still in the numerator, is parentheses 8 squared minus 4 times 7 times 2. So all underneath the square root. And then in the denominator is 2 times 7. So my first answer, rounded to the nearest hundredth, is going to be x equals -0.37. Now my second answer I'm going to get by doing the minus sign. So I'm going to change this plus sign to a minus sign, and that gives me -0.7. 77 when I round to the nearest hundredth. So my two answers are -0.37 or -0.77. So let's take a look at this next one and do the quadratic formula to solve for G. So in this case, A is 5, B is -3, C is -3. And that's going to give me +3 because the formula is -b. So since b is -3, it turns positive, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. And then I'm going to plug that into my Desmos. So the nice thing about Desmos, it's already kind of in the correct format. So I'm just going to change the pieces here and plug in my new values instead of retyping it all. So my first answer gives me 1.13. And then if I change this to a minus sign, my second answer is -0.53. So those are my two answers for this quadratic. Awesome. Okay. The next piece I want to look at is the discriminant. So the discriminant is the part underneath the square root of the quadratic formula. So b squared minus 4ac. When it's positive, so if I plug in b, a, and c, and if I get a positive number, that tells me there are going to be two real solutions. If I plug in b, a, and c, and I get 0, that's going to tell me there's only one real solution. And if I get out a negative number, that's going to tell me that there are no real solutions, because essentially these are the numbers I'll be square rooting. So if I square root a positive, that gives me plus or minus. If I square root 0, that gives me only one answer. And if I square root a negative, that gives me no real answers. So if I'm finding the discriminant, the b squared minus 4ac for this problem, a is 5, b is negative 4, c is 6. So I'm going to plug that in and get negative 4 squared minus 4 times 5 times 6. And so I can plug that into my calculator. And let's see, negative 4 squared minus 4 times 5 times 6 gives me negative 104. So the value of the discriminant, which is what this question's asking, is negative 104. That tells me that this quadratic has no real solutions. So find the value of this discriminant. A is 8, B is 8, C is 2. So it's going to be 8 squared minus 4 times 8 times 2. Again, Desmos is nice because I can just kind of replace my new values into the formula. That gives me 0. So the value of the discriminant is 0, which means there will be only one real solution. So sometimes IXL will ask you how many solutions does it have. So we're still going to find the discriminant. So A is 2, B is 4, C is 2. So the discriminant is B squared minus 4 times A times C. And so if I plug those values in, 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times 2, that gives me a discriminant value of 0. 0 as a discriminant value means one real solution. So how many solutions will this equation have? A is 3, B is negative 4, C is negative 4. So if I do B squared minus 4 times A times C, let's see what we get. Negative 4 minus 4 times 3 times negative 4 gives me 64. And so that tells me, since it's a positive number, that there will be two real solutions. So that's the quadratic formula and the discriminant.